What I'd like to do at this point is talk with you about Catholic social teaching. For 13 years, I was the executive director of the National Catholic Rural Life Conference, which is a national organization based in Des Moines, Iowa. And as such, I was an advisor to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops in Washington, D.C. on domestic and international issues relative to food and agriculture and natural resources. And the Catholic Church has a long history of working on social concerns, on social justice. And to do so, it's developed a framework, a set of ideas that are called Catholic social teaching. These are principles of thinking how the Church thinks about social concerns and environmental concerns. There are 7 principles of Catholic social teaching, which are always used whenever the Church speaks about issues relative to social justice or to the environment. And there's oftentimes a correlation between the principles of Catholic social teaching and the scriptures and the tradition of the Church. So that the first principle that I would utilize is the dignity of the human person. We know that the scriptures tell us that we are created in the image and likeness of God as human beings. And that gives us a dignity that means that we should be treated justly, fairly, rightly, that we're not to be treated like slaves or to be treated just as things, but our human nature has a divine spark, and that gives us a dignity. And in the social encyclical of the early 20th century, Rerum Novarum, this principle of the dignity of the human person is applied to the condition of labor, so that human beings should be allowed to organize to seek just wages. This is because they have a dignity. Another principle of Catholic social teaching is subsidiarity. It's a funny word. It's not often used in the United States, but it's used regularly in Europe. The principle of subsidiarity means that no higher level power should force its decision-making on lower level powers. Think about it in the United States context as home rule, that your rural towns and villages, your cities and municipalities should have the right to shape their own life without an overreaching national government telling them exactly what they should do in this or that instance. So it's like that. Subsidiarity means that people at the local level have the right to shape their own future and to make decisions upon their own behalf without the power of the government coming in and saying, no, you can't do this, you have to do that. The principle of subsidiarity is very important when it comes to thinking about democracy and how people should live with some capacity for self-rule in their local community. And it has many other applications. Another principle of Catholic social teaching is the universal destination of goods. This means that the goods of the earth are created by God for the well-being of all. And it ends up as a way of criticizing the hoarding of goods in the hands of a few. If the goods of the earth, land, natural resources, the water and food are meant for the well-being of all, then the hoarding or capacity to hoard or concentrate power in the hands of the few is something to be criticized and to be changed. The universal destination of goods. The earth's goods are created by God for the well-being and the benefit of all, not just a few. And then another principle is solidarity. Solidarity means that we should feel a sense of community with all people, where the principle of subsidiarity looks at the local community as having certain rights and privileges. Solidarity means that we should not be turned in upon ourselves, but that we should look out to our neighbors, to our friends in other countries, and have a concern for the well-being of all. It's a feeling commitment to think about everyone's good and not just our own family, our own community's good. And then there is the option for the poor. The option for the poor means that we should have an appreciation for the least among us, for those who lack economic power, political power, for those who lack the means of daily sustenance, that we should reach out to them and find means to assist them in order that they can have their dignity rightfully respected. The option for the poor. And another principle is the common good. Just as the goods of the earth are created for the well-being of all, we need to find and create structures that benefit the community, that reach out to the well-being of not just the few, but everybody in the community. The principle of the common good says that we should be concerned about all and not just a few, and that we should find ways to benefit the whole, not just this or that particular group. It challenges biases, racial bias, economic bias, gender bias, in order to create policies that work for the well-being of the whole and not just the part. And then there is the integrity of creation. All of creation is meant to be respected as a whole. And every part of creation, plants and animals and human beings, are created with a sense of interdependence, that the human community and the natural community should be seen as one. Natural goods and human goods, animals and plants, make with the human being one biotic community. And this community has a certain integrity that has to be appreciated. And this is why we have to take care of the environment, not just for the human being's well-being, but for its own well-being as deserving the attention of human beings to take care of it, to care for the earth, to nurture it. Now, any time that any one of us looks at statements, official policy statements from the Catholic bishops of the United States, from bishops from one diocese to another, from the popes, from church bodies, you will find one or another of these principles of Catholic social teaching utilized, because they frame the essential principles that need to be applied when working on public policy, on working on social justice, on working for improving the condition of life of people and the planet. These are the principles that need to be spoken to, articulated, and fleshed out. Some people call them the Catholic Church's best kept secrets, because they're not as well known, understood, or appreciated as they should be. But I think they represent a vital part of the Church's patrimony. Thank you.